to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own story, in your own rhythm, in your own narrative, beloveds, because that is what the seasons and the times require of us. You know, it's so important, beloveds, for us to do the necessary work to decolonize our minds, because that is where the real battle is. That's where this Armageddon is going on. And that is where the entire battle, for the world or whatever, for the attention of as many people as possible is through the minds. And the Babylon system has created absolutely everything. They created like this whole artificial mind, this whole artificial reality to pull us from our own creative realities, like a drug, where you keep going to their world for a hit, and it kind of leaves you totally drugged out to do anything in your own world, if you get my drift. And there's so many lies, beloveds, because everything has been inverted by the Babylon system. So every story is told, is back to front, and upside down. And I was shocked the other day when I got an extremely long email from an African brother who was trying to tell me that, my show on women and men, male versus female power was totally wrong because, women came from the rib of men. I'm shocked, beloveds, that people still believe that. You really believe that narrative? That's crazy. And that shows you just how far the brainwashing and the indoctrination goes. Adam did not come first, beloveds. The woman came first. And she had both the male and the female, principles, energies balanced within her. She is the one who decided to have a male counterpart, a helper. How ironic is that? And so she birthed the male principle by kind of releasing, because every time a woman gives birth, they release a massive part of themselves, as much as a soul comes through. But she released that male aspect of her so that, he could be embodied. He's not weaker or stronger than her, like the whole, patriarchal movement tries to portray the man as stronger than the woman. No. It was a deep part of herself that she released. And in that, she could even interact in a more deeper way with herself. So it's really important, beloveds, that you let go of this religious psychosis. Eve was, women did not come from the rib of men. Men came from the womb of woman. The woman came first, beloveds. This was a feminine planet, still is. That's why we call it Mama Earth, Mama Africa. It still is Mama Nature. And no matter what the Babylon system has done to try and eradicate the feminine, to try and totally erase traces of the mother, traces of, the great mothers, traces of the great goddess and the great goddesses, traces of the feminine power. They've done everything to erase it. So that should really put you in perspective. But it's not that men or women, one is inferior, one is superior. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. But we must put people in their rightful positions, beloveds, if we're to see this world in its true perspective. And if we're to even overstand our role. Because the woman gave birth to the man. to be her helper, beloveds. That's why he's so much physically stronger. And, he has totally different attributes from her. As I said, she birthed a part of her, she released a part of her so that she could interact with herself, literally. I know this is going to go over some people's heads, but, too bad. And in this great release, the man was born as her protector, as the one with the magic wand who could, give her back the energy, help to kickstart her creativity, etc., etc. The perfect counterpart. He is her and she is him. I mean, that's where the depth of it goes. And there is a law of gender, and that's one of the laws that, the Babylon system has been trying to, conquer or remove, which is totally impossible. Because the Babylon, the spirit that has come and tried to invade this spirit, as I've said, is a totally masculine energy. And the way we defeat it is by using both the masculine and the feminine. It's funny because in the Mau Mau movement here in Kenya, the independence movement, it got as far as it did because the Mzungu colonialists had no respect for women. They didn't respect their women, so they didn't overstand. They couldn't even comprehend that our women were the spies, were the ones that stole guns, were the ones that got the secrets, were the ones that delivered the food, were the ones that organized raids. And so for so long, the movement got so far because of this total disrespect for the feminine power and the feminine energy. But we're in the season, beloveds, where you're going to see women coming back to the forefront. And it's not really, it's just a confirmation of spirit. Because as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. And that has a lot to do, of course, with the restoration of righteousness, but in a deeper position, the restoration of womanhood and the restoration of the feminine power. And I think, as soon as men start to accept that they came from women, then that whole dynamic changes, beloveds. Because then you should see every woman as a mother. So that every woman can honor you as the father role that you play. And for us women, when we recognize that it's about us, it's always been about us, and we are the ones we've been waiting for, literally. That's why there's been such an onslaught against us, against our children, against our world. It's all been attacking this feminine spirit. And as women, we are custodians of that spirit. We carry a part of that spirit with us to express it here. So the whole Adam and Eve story was just to introduce patriarchy and try and remove, it's the narrative that begins the whole eradication of the feminine principle and how important the feminine principle, and just flipping the world with that one story. They totally flipped the world. And there's a lot that happened, beloveds. Once that, the feminine principle introduced the male principle, and a lot of things went from interacting within her to interacting now with with someone outside of herself. I'm not going to say something, excuse me. And so let's say she could have children, she could regenerate. I mean, there's some animals, either amoebas or something, which have their own children without, a male counterpart. So she went from that to interacting and using sex not only to have children, but to create, worlds, experiences, many powerful things. And through that, Eve bit the apple, of a different kind of male energy. Many thousands and thousands and thousands of years later, that introduced the reptilian bloodline. into, you know, this realm, a particular reptilian bloodline. Let me say that. So, man came from woman, beloveds. For real, for real. Shock on us, right? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, Tuko pamoja.